No, sir. You put that flower in your hair and you'd be smart. So we're going to see SoulRock versus Sage. Sage being the R.O.B in the Connecticut region. One of the, literally right behind Raffi in terms of skill when it comes to R.O.Bs around here. Just doesn't get to attend as much. Very busy man. But when he attends locals, he puts in so much work. He makes bad matchups look very doable for R.O.B, even with the fact that it's hard to land against a character like Rosalina, which SoulRock does a very good job of frustrating you, we'll say.
Certainly, especially with an item and projectile-oriented zoning character like R.O.B. I feel like this matchup can go... I don't want to say it's going to go fully in Rosalina's favor, because R.O.B definitely has the tools and packs a lot of punch behind his normals that he can contest space well, especially if Sage continues to be aware about gravitational pull and all the dangers that come with it.
Yeah, and for Sage, too, if he plays it right, he does have the ability to disrupt Luma. You know, he can throw out the gyro at it to try and just throw chip damage. He's the one of the few characters who can contest and annoy Luma from far away. Did he just save Luma with that fair?
He
it
might
looked like
have.
he was Luma was in tumble position, but it stayed. But instead of spiking Rosalina, he spiked Luma instead, so he made sure it was gone. Also a beneficial thing to R.O.B is Beep Boop kills early on pretty much everybody, but Rosa is relatively light.
Yes.
So it's, and she's big, so it's much harder for her to try and dodge getting hit by a stray up air too. Just like that.
Gets scooped off her feet and sitting at a leisurely 69%. Sage is staying with the first stock. However, SoulRock moving hot on his trails, trying to clean that up.
Yeah, right now, and I like the fact that SoulRock did get the item and he kind of just faded away with it, but he's been holding on to it a little bit too long. Like, he took a lot of unnecessary damage for the fact that he couldn't get rid of it. It's almost always smart to never throw it at R.O.B. I don't get where people get this idea that that's a good idea. You get up.
Yes.
Just let it linger for where R.O.B can't have any fun with it for a little while. And just throw it out the rawest up smashes on that call out and get to seal it out. That first stock looked relatively okay.
Things looked even, but as soon as Rage built up, Sage knew exactly what he needed to do. He just kept on moving in.
Yeah, you know, Sage just smothered him for the most part. Didn't really let him breathe or let him relax. And that was very, very good on his part, realizing that when he had that advantage of the stock lead, he could play a little bit more reckless because he wants Rosa to die as early as possible. He does not want to go into the long war of trying to out-tank Rosalina.
Right. So moving us into game 2, we have Mountain City for the stage pick, and I don't like this stage pick.
I'm going to agree with that because usually, it's a pretty good idea for Rosa, but you're looking at people.
Yes.
You're looking at also R.O.B being able to, at some point during the match, play FD. I truly believe that he probably banned Triplats. He does not want Rosalina to have Battlefield or Dreamland, because then he's got to deal with trying to recover or trying to land and deal with the harassment there. Meanwhile, as we just saw, he can stall out with this longer end of the stage for what is normally a hard time for R.O.B to land. But those platforms come in clutch every once in a while and kind of mess up stage positioning for SoulRock. So I don't know how he's going to make this work, but maybe he will.
On top of that, the sword continues to have an even sharper double edge, because for all the platforms that support Rosalina's kill power, they're supporting R.O.B even more. This is a character that's not only such an aggressive zoning character, but is sort of a pseudo-grappler. And with all of the stage control that the gyro is letting, Sage is not slowing down in the slightest.
Yeah, no, Sage was... even though SoulRock decided to eat 2 stage spikes over there, Sage still positioned the gyro afterwards for the roll that was going to come up, because he knew that he had conditioned him into either recovering too high or rolling on stage, and was already ready with that up smash. That conditioning was extremely good, and some next level stuff. Right now, Sage is playing relatively on fire.
He's making it look really good for R.O.B right now. Just constant pressure onto Rosalina, making sure that Luma is not really an afterthought, but you don't really see him putting out options specifically to remove Luma. And I feel for a character like R.O.B, it's the best approach, because you know it's Rosalina's tools and herself that are going to make things difficult for his style of play.
Yeah. Oh, wow, he actually teched. So R.O.B mains don't tech. This is a fact. They just don't. But he did. So it's kind of similar to how the Jigglypuff hat is not the best. R.O.B mains don't actually live off tech. So Stage coming through with a clutch one finally. Being able to last a little bit longer, trying to get a call out on a roll read there. SoulRock is just getting a lot of unbeneficial situations right here. But very smart. Noticing he was lingering around too long and delaying his recovery, gets that spike. So still doable with the fact that you can kill off the top with Luma pretty early.
Yes. Rage multiplier looking really nice for Luma. If Sage isn't careful, this situation can turn deadly quickly. However, that's a couple of seconds that Sage doesn't have to worry about that. The pressure can continue to build up higher and higher.
I like the fact that SoulRock decided to recover a little bit higher that time because he's kind of been conditioned into recovering in the same situation pretty much every time. And managing to live a little bit longer than expected. Trying to go for a raw up smash read there, but it's not going to capitalize on anything. This is scary. Oh, you know what? That was smart. That was smart because he realized that he couldn't get the follow-up, and if he tried to overcommit to it, Luma could have just put him into that position where you get that double up air.
Right.
And shout out to Mr. R.
And we're not going to be seeing it just yet, although these percentages are climbing higher and higher, and the situation's getting even deadlier for, I'd say, both players, but really it's Sage who's looking to suffer as he struggles to close out the stock because down air and up air have so much base knockback. But once again, Luma removed from the equation, and Sage trying to take a more patient approach to pressuring SoulRock. But
Up though is probably going to do it, and
yes, it will.
It's kind of like what we talked about before, where Sage, last thing Sage wants is to have to play the tank, the out tank role against